Bruchim Habayim and welcome. I'm Fred Reeves, the rabbi of KM Isaiah Israel in Hyde Park and the president of the Board of Directors for the Jewish Council of Urban Affairs. Welcome to Acts of Change. This is JCUA's flagship event. While we would have loved to gather as a community in person, we are glad to bring you this experience online. Since JCUA was founded in 1964, we have been on the front lines of social change, and today we remain Chicago's Jewish voice for social justice. As we face a public health crisis and widespread unrest over police violence, it is so important that JCUA is working to ensure Chicago provides safety and opportunity for all of its residents. We have a great program planned for you tonight. You'll soon see a discussion led by Tahman Bradley of WGN-TV News, musical performances by Ezra Furman and Shantel Hampton, and the presentation of the Robert J. Marx Award for Social Justice to Jeff Zaluda. We are pleased to spend the next hour with you, and so glad that many of you are joining us on YouTube right now. Please take the chance to introduce yourself in the comments, to share your JCUA experiences, and participate throughout the program. You can also post a picture of yourself on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram using the Acts of Change hashtag. Thank you to everyone who has donated to make tonight a success. We have been truly humbled by the outpouring of support from our donors and supporters during this challenging time. You'll see a link on your screen to donate throughout the night. I'm proud to share that members of our board have put forward a match for tonight only. Every dollar you donate tonight will be matched up to $12,000. This money is crucial to our work to advance racial and economic justice in Chicago. I'm honored to begin Acts of Change by introducing our Executive Director, Judy Levy, who has been the leader of the JCUA for nearly a decade and has led us to become the powerful organization that we are today. It is a pleasure to work closely with her as we guide the work of the JCUA, and I am proud to call her my friend. Judy?
Good evening. I'm Judy Levy, and I'm the Executive Director of the Jewish Council on Urban Affairs. We are so glad to be able to share this virtual experience with so many of you, those who are new to JCUA and those who have been part of our community for some time. I'm an enduring optimist. I believe the painful challenges we face today represent the narrow bridge we must cross to get to a more just world. I think of this as a ma tovu moment. The notion is that in shachrit, morning prayers, you arrive at your own pace, and when you come together as a community, you invoke a sacred sense of purpose. Awoken by the tragic deaths of George Floyd and far too many others, the majority of Americans now acknowledge that systemic racism in our country is pervasive. It is now on all of us to ensure that this moment leads to transformational change. In essence, this is the reason that JCUA exists. I'm excited to share with you just some of the highlights of this past year's accomplishments. Our long-standing mission is to engage and mobilize the Jewish community to combat poverty, racism, and anti-Semitism, working in partnership with diverse communities. You will hear a lot more over the course of this evening about how we carry out that mission today. For now, allow me to shine the spotlight on just some of the ways in which we are working to advance racial and economic justice along with our 2,000 JCUA members. Over the past year, JCUA has worked to advance immigration justice, making significant progress in preventing federal immigration agents from accessing City of Chicago facilities and databases. These efforts help Chicago to move in the direction of being a truly welcoming city for all people. Through our Community Ventures program, JCUA is a catalyst for affordable housing and job creation. CVP has ramped up its capacity nearly threefold over the past few years, working across the city to strengthen communities. JCUA's youth programs for teens and college-age youth have empowered young Jewish leaders throughout the city and suburbs and have grounded them in JCUA's work. Member trainings on racial justice, community organizing, white supremacy, and anti-Semitism are drawing record numbers of JCUA participants. We are deepening our connections with our 13 congregation partners, and our base building efforts are expanding on the north side, the south side, and in the north suburbs. The growing Kol Or Jewish People of Color Caucus is creating a space for Jews of color across Chicago to be engaged with JCUA. Cole Orr is playing a key role in guiding our racial justice work at this critical moment. Many people in our city and across the country are now demanding systemic changes to policing. JCUA has been dedicated to this work for decades. Over the past 3.5 years, we've worked in coalition with GAPA, the Grassroots Alliance for Police Accountability. We're confident that this work will deliver real systemic change in the near future so that the Chicago Police Department is held accountable. Achieving this is paramount to a more just city, and all of us will be better off for it. We are an organization with a proud history. Our Jewish values are a reflection of our history and traditions, our lived experiences, and our dynamic understanding of how we're called upon to assert our shared humanity in this moment. Over the past 10 years, I personally went from struggling to understand our unique role to arriving at my own clear and compelling articulation for why our work is both necessary and profound, and how it allows us to be fully present as Jews and as bold agents of change. I love this organization and all that it stands for, even when it's messy. I'm so fortunate to be a leader of JCUA at this critical, challenging time. There are so many people who make this work possible. I want to acknowledge the fantastic JCUA staff who, in working from home over these past 4 months, have achieved a level of productivity that I can only describe as astounding. I want to thank the JCUA Board of Directors, led by my terrific co-collaborator, Rabbi Fred Reeves. You are leaders, ambassadors, and champions, and you make us strong. Thank you to our Acts of Change co-chairs and to the entire host committee, and of course, to our honoree, Jeff Zaluda. Jeff was extraordinarily gracious, as he always is, as we redesigned Acts of Change for tonight. He's a remarkable leader and a fabulous role model. I can't thank you enough, Jeff. Thank you to our Acts of Change sponsors and donors who have been so generous in helping us to reach and surpass our fundraising goal for tonight. You are the backbone of the JCUA endeavor, and we are so fortunate for your partnership. JCUA's work is more important than ever. We continue to forge ahead with passion and energy and intensity to address, as a Jewish community, the most pressing inequities of our day. I want to thank everyone in the JCUA community for all that you do to amplify our collective work. You will now get to hear a few words from current and former board members who will present the first ever Miriam Award to longtime JCUA leader Mimi Harris in recognition of a lifetime focused on making the world better. That will be followed by a musical performance from Ezra Furman. Ezra is from Chicago and is a wonderful talent who combines pop, rock, and folk into stirring and emotional music. Thank you all again, and I hope you enjoy celebrating the evening with us tonight.
I'm Vanetta Mansfield.
And I'm Tahman Bradley, and we're two of the co-chairs of tonight's Act of Change event.
As a member of the Board of Directors and on behalf of JCUA, I could not be more pleased to present the inaugural Miriam Award to Mimi Harris for her social justice work.
Mimi has been a mentor, a friend, and a confidant. I have been able to call upon her at all times to talk about issues of justice, issues that are personal, issues that are meaningful, and our back and forth and the respect that she's afforded me for my opinion as she has helped me become wholer and fuller throughout my life, my rabbinate as a human being, has been incredibly helpful and meaningful to me.
Your list of activities over your lifetime in activism would fill a book. You were a member of the Women's Strike for Peace. You co-founded and managed the Three Penny Cinema, which became one of the major art houses in Chicago, showing films that mainstream theaters wouldn't show. You participated in many demonstrations and marches that JCUA was supporting. I remember being with you on several of them, May Day marches, picketing in front of the Conrad Hilton Hotel.
And Miriam was one who was able to provide the water, the wellspring of water that is so important to nourish us all. And so for you, who is the very embodiment of that, for leading in the front, knowing when to lead from behind, knowing how to prod, knowing how to inspire.
The world would be a better place if there were more Mimi Harrises in it. Congratulations on this well-deserved award.
Mazal Tov, I love you and I'm so proud of you.
Mazel tov, Mimi.
Mazel tov.
I am beyond thrilled to get this award. From the beginning, JCUA has been like manna from heaven for me. I am a lifelong Chicagoan with a passion for social justice in a town where that's hard to come by. JCUA has embodied so many of my Jewish, human, democratic, and American value, and the Jewish lens I look through. I am truly blessed and so grateful.
Hi all, Ezra Furman here. This is a song I wrote in August 2014, and I present it with a heavy and angry heart. It's called Ferguson's Burning. Michael Brown, 18 years old, now he's dead in the ground. He shot him 6 times, his hands over his head. He held not a weapon, he was not a threat. Michael Brown died in the Ferguson streets. Officer Wilson got weeks of paid leave. The message was clear, broadcast over the nation. Kill a young black man, win a vacation. Ferguson, burning. The world's turning away. Turning away. The folks of Missouri, they could not stand by. They took to the streets and let angry flags fly. The all-white police force felt they had to step in. They met him with SWAT gear and chemical weapons. They stirred up the chaos and turned on the masses. Turned out the streetlights, wore night vision glasses. The governor urges we must react calmly, while the killers in power turn into an army. Ferguson, last wild, but Michael Brown's mother will not get back her child, and the hatred and fear white America harbors will only grow bigger beneath thick body armor. So keep a close eye on our laws and our leaders. No justice for Mike Brown, there's none for you either. Ferguson, burning. The world's turning away. Turning away. Ferguson, burning. And the world's turning away.
Thank you, Ezra, for that stirring piece of music. And now, I'm happy to turn it over to our special guest, Tahman Bradley of WGN-TV News, who will lead a special discussion about the moment we're in, the pain, the healing, and how we must take action to respond to this moment. Tahman is the weekend anchor and political reporter for WGN-TV. He is a former ABC News correspondent based out of Washington, D.C., where he covered everything from breaking news to the Obama administration.
Hello, I'm Tahman Bradley, WGN News. It happened in an instant. It was Wednesday, March 11th. The news director, that's the boss in my business, crisscrossed the newsroom with measuring tape in hand. He wanted to make sure the desks were 6 feet apart. We snickered. I might have even laughed out loud. Now, this is our normal response to stuff. Please know, news people mock everything. It's a coping mechanism. Then, Saturday, March 14th, a night I won't soon forget. So as you've heard, hopefully you've seen, I anchor the news. When you anchor the news, it helps if you and your co-anchor show good chemistry. You banter, you make eye contact, you sit close on the anchor desk. We'd covered this strange new virus, COVID-19. We'd had stories in every newscast, complete with TV graphics and fancy music. But it still was this rapidly evolving story that we didn't fully understand. That Saturday night during the 5 p.m. news, our sports department abruptly shut down. My co-anchor and I ended up reading the sports stories on air. When the 5 p.m. was over, we learned that someone on the sports staff thought he might have had contact with someone showing COVID-19 symptoms, and this person had just returned from traveling overseas. Uh-oh. The news director ordered us to create social distance in the newsroom and on the anchor desk. We spread out just about as far away as we could. Fast forward to today, and we still do it. You see on TV, your news anchors don't sit next to each other anymore. You may have noticed it. In fact, half our team, including reporters, work from home. I'll spare you our safety protocols. They're probably a lot like yours right now. And if I had more time, I'd tell you how bizarre it was traveling to Springfield to cover the legislature's special session in May. Now, let me take a moment to acknowledge that this is a very first world look at a crisis that has destroyed lives. I only share this silly story to make the point that this spring, our world changed in an instant. It changed, and maybe we didn't even realize that it changed. At first, maybe we didn't get it. Maybe like me, you mocked it. But now, after roughly 133,000 deaths in America, we must act. I'm here to make a request of the Jewish Council on Urban Affairs. The novel coronavirus continues to ravage the globe, but I was encouraged reading in the Washington Post on a recent Sunday that scientists in Britain, Germany, China, and the United States are exploring a promising but unproven new generation of vaccine technologies based on deploying a tiny snip of genetic code messenger to trigger the immune system to fight the virus. Look, scientists expect to discover a vaccine and/or effective treatment perhaps as soon as early next year. But to fight this virus, the immune system matters. One's health matters. But not everyone in Chicago is healthy. Far too many Black and brown residents of Chicago have underlying health conditions or lack access to health care. Back in March, Patricia Friesen, a 61-year-old retired nurse, a Black woman, became the first Illinois resident to die of COVID-19. And we would lose many more of our neighbors. By late April, in a city that is 1/3 white, 1/3 African American, and 1/3 Latino, 46% of COVID-19 cases were African American, 24% Latino. That's the COVID racial divide. CDC data show that across the United States, Latinos and African Americans are 3 times as likely to become infected as their white neighbors. And Black and Latino people have been nearly twice as likely to die from the virus as white people. 2 weekends ago in the New York Times, the mayor of Kansas City, Quentin Lucas, summed it up. Systemic racism doesn't just evidence itself in the criminal justice system. Look, Jewish Council on Urban Affairs, continue your work. You joined the coalition that helped bring a level 1 trauma center to the U of C, which helps benefit communities of color on the South Side. Do it again. Help address the disparities in health care. Help communities of color get well. Help Black and brown people boost their immune systems. Invest in community health centers, education, and awareness. Take on Chicago's challenge with food deserts. Hear the cry for help of the protesters in the streets. Struggling communities cannot solve this problem alone. Your resources are needed. I challenge you to meet this moment. You've heard from me, but I want to bring in 2 leaders in Chicago to add to the conversation about this moment in time. Let me introduce State Representative Delia Ramirez and Angelique Power. Representative Ramirez is a member of the Illinois House of Representatives serving District 4. Delia was born and lives in Humboldt Park, Illinois. Delia's career experience includes working as the executive director of Center for Changing Lives and as the deputy director for the Community Renewal Society. She co-founded Justice for Our Neighbors, which is a faith-driven ministry welcoming immigrants into our churches and communities by providing free, high-quality immigration legal services, education, and advocacy. I want to also welcome Angelique Power, joining us from her home office. Angelique is president of the Field Foundation. Born and raised on the south side of Chicago by a white Jewish mother who was a Chicago public schools teacher and an African-American father who rose to be sergeant in the Chicago police force, Angelique has an intense love for, in her words, this dazzlingly creative and deeply scarred city. As president of the Field Foundation, Angelique has led a process with staff, board, and nonprofit partners to center racial equity in the foundation's work. Thank you both for being here. Question, we'll start with you, Delia. What have you seen in your community over the past few months? How do you think we can transform the spirit, hope, and pain of this moment into lasting change in Chicago?
We knew that in neighborhoods like Humboldt Park and other neighborhoods in the city of Chicago, things were already difficult. People weren't able to pay rent. People didn't have access to health care. There was issues around talking about the root cause of violence, and we knew that it would only worsen. I gotta admit to you, there were moments that for me, I'd wake up in the morning and ask myself, what and how are we going to be able to bring hope in the midst of so much chaos? Where I see the hope is where I've always seen it, and it's from the people that come deeply rooted in the neighborhood who are unwilling to sit and watch our communities die. It's who inspired me to run for office. It's what actually keeps me accountable and keeps me pushing to make sure that after this, that we don't go back to where we were before pandemic, because before pandemic, things were bad already. That we get to a place of transformation, that we get to a place where we bring true equity. And that means reallocation of resources. And that means people who are most impacted, not just at the table, but at the center of the table to change the dynamics.
Thank you, Representative. A question to Angelique. From a philanthropy and community empowerment lens, how are you thinking about channeling this energy into lasting change?
Well, I couldn't agree more with the comments that were just made. I feel like, first of all, it begins with self-reflection, institutional reflection, and then we aim for systemic change. In philanthropy, it's extremely important. As was just mentioned, equity is about shifting power and shifting resources, and philanthropy is about power and resources. And so it's extremely important. A few things. One, that philanthropy asks itself some questions about how are we creating problems that we posit that we want to solve? Where are the issues within our own practices? Where are the issues within our own metrics, our own expectations around the grants that are being made? Where can we shift our policies and practices if we want to unlock equity and see something different? I think the other thing that's really important about this moment and encouraging is that we're centering racism and we're centering Blackness. And that's something that we can't lose. We have to keep a tight focus on this and understand that the default operating system in our country is racism. And so that means our muscle memory is for inequity. And unless we are hyper-focused daily on our own ways of operating and undoing the pieces that are in place, we're going to slide back into all of the policies and investments that created the conditions that COVID is laying bare. So how do we change ourselves? How do we change our institutions so that then we get a totally different system and a completely new city?
Question for both of you. Delia, I'll start with you. What is the importance of an organization like JCUA at a time like this as it mobilizes the Jewish community around racial and economic justice?
I think that there is no better moment, more critical moment for organizations like JCUA than right now. It is so important. And I'd say to you as a Latina, I can't take away that identity. It's so important as a Latina to know that when we're having these conversations of equity, when we're talking about anti-Blackness, anti-racism, the divide and conquer, the ways that one group has been used to divide and separate the other, that I think about the importance of having allies, accomplices. And I go back to saying accomplices, and that's what JCUA is. It is the kind of organization that says, I am present, I am not speaking for you, I am standing with you. If ever before we needed a kind of coalition, a beloved community that comes from all people, is this particular moment. Because for so many people in the state of Illinois, Black and brown people, the highest group of people infected in this pandemic and dying, we need a multicultural coalition that organizes people into action and into transformation. And that's what JCUA has always been about, particularly this moment more than ever.
Angelique?
Well, I'm gonna share a personal story to answer that question. When I was 13 years old, growing up in Hyde Park on the South Side, the temple that I attended was KAM, Isaiah Israel, which is the temple that's across from President Obama's house. And, I'm a brown kid in a temple, and having a lot of questions around 13, had just been bat mitzvahed. And I remember pulling my Rabbi Wolf, aside and saying to him, I have, all of these doubts. I don't even know if I believe in God. Am I still a good Jew if I don't know that? And he asked me two questions. He said, one, do you take care of your neighbors? And I said, yes. And two, he said, do you ask good questions? And I said, I try to. And he said, then you're a good Jew. And I think that this concept, which is the concept of tikkun olam, repair of the world, this is embedded in Judaism. How do we take care of our neighbors? How do we ask good questions? How do we use our positions of power and privilege to work for change that is in the DNA of Judaism? And this is a moment of tikkun olam to the max. We need all of us. And we need people who are willing to ask the tough questions, to come to new solutions. And that is the role of JCUA.
Angelique, let's stick with you. What is your vision for the future of Chicago?
One of the things that the coronavirus has made really clear is the concept in biology of symbiosis, where we nourish each other and we are interconnected. And so just as if you are not on the north side, then I'm not well on the south side. If I don't thrive on the south side, you don't thrive on the north side. We are interconnected in our trauma right now, and we are interconnected in our sickness right now, which the flip side is that we are interconnected in our brave, bold solutions and in our exponential results that will come from this time. So I imagine a city of abundance, not for some neighborhoods. And in fact, the act of keeping it solely in some neighborhoods keeps the entire city unwell. And so I picture us actually digging into this moment of symbiosis, to make sure that as we emerge with this new center that includes each of us, all of our wellness, our ability to amass community wealth. That is the vision of a renewed Chicago.
And Delia, what is your vision for the future of Chicago, and how does your work with the Right to Recovery campaign help bring that future?
I'd say to you that my vision for Chicago is Angelique's vision for Chicago. As I hear Angelique talk about the interconnectedness and the importance of every single person in this city having the adequate resources to have a quality of life, I want to close my eyes and imagine that moment and feel like we've arrived. We have finally arrived. I'm a girl that grew up in Chicago and have seen a lot of things, good and bad. So this idea of interconnectedness, particularly for neighborhoods like mine that have gentrified, where people have felt that They lived in a neighborhood they called their home, and then all of a sudden, a number of new people have come in, and they're forced to move, and then they're forced to move. There's a lot of sentiment there, and I think there's a lot of healing to be done. Angelique talks about a vision of connectedness of one another, and I want to be part of that world. The Right to Recovery Coalition fights for that kind of world. A world where people who have become invisible in their own community, as shifts and changes of property taxes, of school closures, of shutdown of mental health clinics, of policing of neighborhoods where people have felt ignored, that those people that have made Chicago, Chicago, that have lived here all their life, they've never left, have an opportunity to say how Chicago is reimagined to be a place for all people, not just some. A place where that woman who was told, how dare you question the mayor, how dare you question the teacher, how dare you question the police, has the ability to be at the center of conversation and be able to have the power and authority to not just organize, but transform their neighborhood. And that those same people that make Chicago, Chicago are the ones at the center of transforming the city unapologetically and saying it in a way that brings us all together while also calling out the injustices that have brought us to this moment. I know that I could not do what I do if I didn't have groups like Right to Recovery that affirm me, but more importantly, hold me accountable to the things that I said I would do when I'd go to the legislature. It's why I'm able to be there. It's why I'm able to stay there. It's why I'm able to wake up in the morning and do it again and again and again.
Well, you both have certainly given us a lot to think about. State Representative Delia Ramirez, Angelique Power, thank you for your time tonight.
Thank you for having us.
And now we have a special presentation from a leader here in Illinois.
Welcome to JCUA's 2020 Acts of Change event. The events of this year have shown why JCUA and organizations like it are so important for our future. From the coronavirus pandemic to the protests across the nation focused on racial equality, it's clear that voices for justice and equity are beginning to be heard and must speak louder than ever. I want to congratulate and thank the JCUA and all of its supporters for being an essential Jewish voice in Chicago on these issues. The work you do and the perspectives that you bring to the table are so important. You've demonstrated you have the power to make a real difference. And that's why I need your help in this election. This November, we have the opportunity to do something truly momentous in the history of Illinois. You can help ensure that Illinois is a state that works for everyone by helping to pass the fair tax. The fair tax would mean only those individuals making more than $250,000 a year pay more, that millionaires and billionaires pay more, and that most middle and low-income families receive a tax cut. Now more than ever, it's vital that our essential workers like nurses and grocery store clerks, teachers and paramedics pay a lower tax rate than millionaires and billionaires. The fair tax will bring in billions of dollars in additional revenue to fund our schools and human services and critical programs that many Illinoisans rely on. I'm proud of the progress we've been able to achieve to move Illinois in the right direction during the first 2 years of my administration. But our work is far from over, and I'm as committed as ever to working with you to build on our success at bringing justice, equity, and opportunity to all of Illinois. The fair tax is the next step, and one of the most important. So please join me by voting yes for the fair tax this November. Thank you again for all that you do.
Through JCUA's youth engagement programs for teens and college students, we are empowering the next generation of Jewish leaders with the skills, knowledge, and connections they need to pursue social change through a Jewish lens. Last year, we switched to a full-year format for our Or Tzedek Teen Internship program, and we were so proud of our 15 participants from all across Chicago. And we are now proud to recognize the first full-year cohort of Or Tzedek students. Mazel tov to each of you.
Hi, I'm Mara Wolkoff, the manager of youth engagement at JCUA. I'm just here to offer a huge congratulations to this first school year round cohort of Or Tzedek. It was so wonderful working and experimenting with you to create this structure to really build up youth leadership in JCUA for so many years, and I can't wait to continue working with you as powerful leaders in our work.
Ord Tzedek was a meaningful experience for me because it gave me the tools and knowledge I needed to fight the injustices I saw in our society, as well as an amazing and ever so welcoming team to work alongside with. I learned so much about community organizing and building this year, and I know I will use what I learned through this program in the future as I continue my relation with social justice work.
Something that I learned from Ord Tzedek that I want to take forward in my life is to remember to keep an open mind. In Ord Tzedek, you're going to be talking to a lot of different types of people with different ideals, and it's very important to try your best and understand where they're coming from, and that way, if you guys disagree, you can have a better conversation and learn from each other.
I truly appreciated my time with Ord Tzedek. Not only was I able to greatly expand my organizing circles in the Jewish space, I was able to learn organizing in the context of Judaism and really understand why all of these issues were important to me as a Jewish person.
Hello, my name is Sarah Cantor A, and I'm a proud board member of JCUA. We'd now like to present a video that showcases JCUA's important work across Chicago. I hope you enjoy.
The first question that God asks humanity is, where are you? Ayeka, where are you? And it's when the human being is hiding, sort of ashamed at what he's done in the world. Judaism is trying to help human beings respond by stepping forward and saying, here I am. Hineni, I'm right here. What can I do? How can I help?
JCUA's mission is to combat racism, poverty, anti-Semitism, and that's what we've been doing for 56 years. The whole goal is to build relationships with people, and people are the power. They're the catalyst that create the change.
Come to a meeting. It's an amazing group of Black and brown and white Jews and gay and straight Jews, cis and trans and spectrum. It's everything. You have to experience it.
One of the really powerful experiences that I had with JCUA was on Shabbat. It was on Friday. We all got to hear stories of their Kol Or caucus, or Jews of Color caucus, specifically Black Jews, sharing what their experiences were like living in Chicago, and being able to all march together just felt like this very physical act of standing in solidarity and walking side by side. I'm not just talking the talk, but I'm walking the walk with JCUA.
They don't just talk about allyship, they demonstrate allyship. And JCUA has been demonstrating that since 1964.
JCUA's Community Ventures program provides loans to organizations like C&I at 0% interest rate to really focus on affordable housing development and other impactful economic development projects throughout the city. It's been phenomenal for us to be a recipient of this program because it allowed us to take on all the necessary pre-development work for the Gotham Greens project. When we have a ribbon cutting here in Furman, you guys come, you guys support, and it's a breath of fresh air.
To be part of JCUA means to see myself as a Jewish person whose Judaism is inextricable from my interest in pursuing justice. That is what the Torah is about, is being constantly reminded that we were slaves in Egypt. And so when we were finally able to break free of that, the entire rest of the Jewish story is how do we build a society in which we do not ever participate in or perpetuate what we experienced in Egypt. I want every human being created in the image of God to know that they have dignity and inherent worth and value.
all that is necessary for evil to survive in the world is for people of goodwill to do nothing, is to look away. When I'm on my deathbed, I don't want to be looking back going, you know what I should have done back then? Or if I had known then what I know now? Now is the time to fix the world we're in today. That's what JCUA does.
So I was asked to give our spiel tonight, and I've always found these types of moments really hard. Being asked to donate always creates a swirl of difficult feelings for me personally. I don't know if any of you can relate. But I'm here tonight to try to make this moment really easy for you. A no-brainer, something you can feel really good about. As you know, JCUA has been doing this work since long before this work was trending. And we're gonna keep doing it way after it stops being cool. So if you haven't already, now is the time to give what you can and keep us doing this work. A couple things. First, because of this event's generous underwriting, 100% of your donations go towards supporting the programs and organizing campaigns of JCUA, which are listed on your screen. And two, the board of directors has come together to match your donations up to $12,000. And I mean this when I say that any amount is meaningful. If it's meaningful to you, it's meaningful to us. In addition, anyone who gives $54 tonight will receive a face mask with the JCUA logo. And anyone who gives $100 or more will receive 2 masks. You can keep yourself and your neighbors safe while proudly displaying your support for JCUA. It's pretty cool. So on your screen, you'll see a link to donate on JCUA's website. You're here because you're already a partner. If you want to see transformative change in Chicago, please be a donor too. And with your help, we will make Chicago a place that cares for all its residents, all of its children, its grandchildren, and the generations to come. Thank you. And now please enjoy Shantel Hampton, the granddaughter of Sam Cooke, performing his timeless song, A Change Is Gonna Come.
JCUA was founded in 1964, the same year my grandfather recorded A Change Is Gonna Come. It was founded to address racial and economic issues during the civil rights movement, and we still believe a change is gonna come.
I was born by the river in a little tent. Oh, and just like the river, I've been running ever since. It's been a long time coming, but I know a change gonna come. Oh, yes, it will. It's been too hard living, but I'm afraid to die, 'cause I don't know what's up there beyond the sky. It's been a long time coming, but I know a change gonna come. Oh, yes, it will. I go to the movie and I go downtown. Somebody keep telling me don't hang around. It's been a long time coming, but I know a change gonna come. Oh, yes, it will. Then I go to my brother and I said, brother, won't you help me, please? rise up and do it. So knocking me back down on my knees. Oh, there's been times that I thought I couldn't last for long. Now I think I'm able to carry on. It's been a long time coming, but I know change gon' come. Oh, yes it will. Oh, yes it will. Yes it will.
Each year, we recognize an individual with the Rabbi Robert J. Marx Social Justice Award, named after our founder, Rabbi Robert Marx, who founded JCUA in 1964. This honor recognizes a leader's commitment to the values that Rabbi Marx lives and teaches. Last year, we honored Rabbi Capers Fanay with the award, and I'd like to now turn it over to Rabbi Fanay as we honor Jeff Saluda.
Good evening. My name is Rabbi Capers Fanay. I'm spiritual leader of Beth Shalom B'nai Zaken Ethiopian Hebrew Congregation and former president of JCUA's Board of Directors. I have the great privilege tonight to award this year's Robert J. Marx Award for Social Justice to Jeff Zaluda. Last year, I received this award myself, and it is an honor that I will cherish in accepting this award. Rabbi Marx is the founder of JCUA. Rabbi Marx believes deeply in the Jewish community's mandate to stand with its neighbors who were impacted by poverty and racism and to join in their struggle. And that very work would help to be a pushback against anti-Semitism. He prayed with his feet as he marched with Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. in Chicago against segregation. Since then, he has been a leader and a guiding light for JCUA's work. Jeff has played an instrumental role in increasing affordable housing in Chicagoland. He helped create Highland Park's Community Land Trust and Affordable Housing Trust Fund. He later served as president of the Lake County Affordable Housing Corporation. Through his involvement with JCUA, Jeff continued his generous commitment to affordable housing through the Community Ventures Program, which is also a JCUA program. Jeff's work extends beyond JCUA. He chairs the Inclusivity, Diversity, and Equity Action Task Force at HMB Legal Counsel, his law firm of 33 years. As Jeff's friends will tell you, he is not shy in expressing his views on social justice to anyone that will listen. He is a tireless in his endeavor for a more just and equitable world. I remember when Jeff first joined the board nearly a decade ago, and his extraordinary impact cannot be overstated. He led JCUA during a time of transition and organizational reflection to become as powerful as we have ever been. Recently, he spearheaded a racial justice training at his office to pull his co-workers into this very urgent work. Jeff has always kept his eyes on the prize. Yes, and he's been true to the vision of JCUA for providing a Jewish voice for equity and justice with diverse communities throughout Chicago. It is with great respect, honor, and gratitude that I present you, Jeff, with the 2020 Robert J. Marx Award for Social Justice. Congratulations.
Rabbi Fournier, thanks so much for that kind presentation. You're someone I really admire, so that makes it extra special for me to have received this from you. My apologies if this comes across as arrogant or preachy. That's not my intent. My intent is to give a pep talk, and I hope that you all take it that way. I have wondered a bit about why I am being honored with the Rabbi Marx Award, which I view as one of Chicago's greatest honors for social justice warriors, and particularly for social justice warriors in the Jewish community. The list of worthy recipients is long, and the fact that I was part of that list is, to some extent, surprising to me. I think about what I have brought to the table, and I think that anyone can become deserving of this award. I think of some of my attributes in dichotomies. For one, I am both patient and pushy. I understand that systemic change is a long game, but I never stop pushing buttons to make change happen. I am both a leader and a follower. I know how to get people to get things done, but I also know how to give full support to others who step up. I can be both wise and naive. I've had enough life experience to know how to read people and situations well, but I also realize how little I really know about other people's lived experience. I think I'm smart, but I never think I'm the smartest person in the room. But those attributes can be applied to anything in life, having nothing to do with social justice and systemic change. I think the difference, and why I may be receiving this award, is in the belief system to which I apply those attributes. Since we're a Jewish organization at JCUA, I'll get biblical for a minute. I think that most everything you need to know can be found in the Garden of Eden. I do believe that I am my brother's keeper and my neighbor's keeper. I do believe that I need to make my best sacrifice regardless of what others may be doing. I do believe that the consequences of my actions or inactions are wholly on me. I do believe that eating of the fruit of knowledge of good and evil requires me to constantly consider the difference between the two. I do believe that we are all descended from the same rootstock. I do believe in the intangible spiritual connectivity between people. I do believe in the power of words to create. And I do believe that, like me, one can be highly imperfect and still be righteous in his time. Honestly, beyond acting on those beliefs with one's own attributes, there's really not much else one needs to do to put themselves in a position to receive this award. I really, really think it's that easy. Thanks again, Capers, and to JCUA for this great honor. And thanks to the people of this great city. Chicago is a community worth fighting for.
Hi, everyone. I'm Lance Friedman, and together with my wife, Sari Glucken, we are co-chairs of this evening's Acts of Change event. We have been family friends of the Zaludas for 30 years. During that time, we've shared many simchas, happy occasions with them, and tonight is the latest in those happy occasions. And during those years, I have come to so admire Jeff's total commitment to Tikkun Olam, making the world a better place. And a lot of us talk about Tikkun Olam and having that commitment. For Jeff, it's like it's in his DNA. If he's not actively involved in some important project to make the world a better place, he gets sort of fretful and you don't want to be around him during those days. And I've seen him lead Lake County affordable housing for many years. When he and Deb moved down to Chicago, it took him about 10 minutes to connect with JCUA, became very involved and led the board for a couple of years, where together with the staff, he set a much stronger financial foundation. He greatly expanded membership and really set a strategy for the organization going forward. So for that reason, we're delighted that he's honored this evening. I want to give a special shout out to the MC 100 Miles for Mira group. This is a cycling group that Jeff co-founded a few years ago. It's a group of sort of rowdy men and women macher wannabes, but tonight they are true machers because they have given a very generous sponsorship to honor our friend, Jeff Zaluda. So please join me once again in wishing Jeff l'chaim and mazel tov. Way to go, Jeff.
Hi, I'm Dick Horwood, honored to be with you tonight and pleased to see Jeff receive the Rabbi Robert J. Marx Award for Social Justice. As I believe most of you now know, Jeff walks the walk in every part of his life. When he was interviewed by the law firm, he asked me a question I was never asked before or since by anyone, which is, could he continue to be involved in charitable endeavors and community activities? Obviously, the answer was yes, and as a result, we see that Jeff walks the walk in every part of his life. He leads by example in the law firm. He heads the law firm diversity initiative and speaks up for social justice at every opportunity. So I'm pleased to join the law firm, his HMB clients, colleagues, and friends in congratulating him tonight. All the best. Mazel tov, Jeff.
Hey Dad, we just wanted to tell you that we are so inspired by the way that you listen to people and learn from people and always put your beliefs into action. We are so, so proud of you. We love you, and we couldn't think of a better role model for Addie.
Congrats, Jeff.
Hi, I'm Josh Darrow. This is my wife, Marlene.
Hello.
We're wishing Jeff the very best. We know that Jeff loves Chicago, even though he doesn't have the accent, and he's vocal and passionate about social justice. We wish we were there live. I'm sure everybody does. We love you, Jeff. Kol hakavod.
Kol hakavod, Jeff. Love you.
Jeff, this is a wonderful honor. Please take a second, soak it all in. It is something that you have deserved, and it is well earned. Congratulations again from you, from us, from Kathy and I, and the Miles Ramirez biking group.
Dad, you always raised us with the mantra, justice, justice shall you pursue, so it's really no wonder that you're receiving this award today. I'm so proud to be your daughter. You're certainly a man whose actions speak as loud, if not louder, than his words.
Good evening. My name is Karen Bass-Ehler, and I'm the Vice President of the Board of Directors for JCUA. I'm grateful that you're here with us tonight, at this time, in this moment, and in this work. Please know that you can still participate in the board match by donating tonight. With your help, we can ensure the long-term sustainability of JCUA and its important work. I'm proud to be part of JCUA and to help in the fight for racial justice and equality. As we know, that fight has never been more important or more critical for all of our voices to be part of this effort. There are several ways to get involved in our work and act on your values. 1, become a member at the link on your screen. 2, urge your congregation to partner with JCUA and join as one of our organizational partners. 3, sign a virtual pledge to support the fair tax referendum in November so that we can ensure Illinois has a tax system that does not disproportionately burden poor communities or communities of color. You'll see the link to the pledge card on your screen and in the comments. Thank you for joining us tonight. This is the end of our program, but by no means is it the end of our work. We are grateful you're in relationship with JCUA, and we look forward to seeing you again very soon. Thank you, and good night.
Some angels will carry you homeward.
how